And then Conrad Porsche, quickest of the Porsches. Sascha Masson, not the man who set that pole time. It was actually Frank Conrad who did it in the morning. Waiting for the start then. 3 hours or 125 laps, whichever comes up first. And the tail end of the grid rushing to make it round that final corner, so they're complete when they come across the start-finish line. And there is the green light, and round 7 of the FIA GT Championship is go, with the Lister leading them down towards Redgate Turn. It is Julian Bailey who leads them into the first corner. A solid wedge of GT cars. And we're on board now with Sascha Masson in the Conrad Porsche. Round Redgate, round Hollywood, running down the dip now through the trainer curves. Such a challenge, this part of the circuit. The old hairpin and on towards Starkey's Bridge. Lister leads it from the Chamberlain Viper. In second place, that's number 18. Niamarim in second place. And let's look behind. First of the Orica cars, that's the number 1 car. 19, another of the Chamberlain cars. The highest placed Porsche at the moment is Sascha Masson in the Conrad car, number 6. There he is, just clinging on to the tail end of the number 2 Orica Viper. Settling down now, or are they? Already Olivier Beretta having a look. He's not the only one. Little bit of jostling in the queue as they enter the braking zone, and here's a passing manoeuvre. Oh, that looks doomed to disaster. He may have straight round. Masson at the Melbourne hairpin now, making the pass and making it stick. Goes past Bellot, gets on the gas now, running up the hill towards Goddard. Has he got away with it? Yes, he has. Brake and turn left at the 50-metre board. And you are out onto the start-finish straight at the end of the first lap of Donington Park. Hard on the gas for the charge down towards Redgate. Little bit of drafting down here as they come into the braking zone at the pit lane exit, turning right through Redgate. This is number 12. It looked as though that was doomed to disaster, and so it was. Mauro Casadei didn't quite make it at the S's, ran wide and gave the place back. So often, that's the penalty you pay there. Looking at Niamarim, followed by the number 1 car, Olivier Beretta, the championship points leader. Stuck in third place at the moment, and watching that Lister get away, must be getting slightly agitated. Full load of fuel, full load of ballast. Things are going to be difficult for him. He's running to a schedule. He's got to preserve his tyres. He's got to preserve his brakes. The Vipers have handled the penalty of that excess ballast really well, but you will see it. The drivers say they notice it under acceleration, under braking, and in the corners. They can really, really feel it. On the straight, the car will get up to it. It's a full whack, but it is becoming a handful in the turns. Amarim in front of him in the number 18 car has got half of the amount. 45 kilos is all he's carrying. And behind him, Olivier Beretta with the full 100. He's got to finish below 7th place in order to have any weight taken off him. And that seems increasingly unlikely. Lister still leads it. Julian Bailey set the pole time. The team know this circuit well. They say this car is really well suited to Donington Park. It's got the downforce it needs for these corners. And they have... and that is the number 19 car moving up there. Christian Glasl just is sneaking past, and is he going to keep it? Well, they're all mixing it now, on board with Sascha Masson. The field starting to spread out, as you can see. Brake hard on the curbs, turning right. Masson working the Porsche. Now, the number 6 car's got 20 kilos of ballast, so it's a little bit heavier than it wants to be, but they got that little boost of power mid-season with the change in restrictor size. And it's brought the Porsches right up to the tail end of the Orica cars, but hasn't really put them in front of them on any consistent basis yet. Masson has been a revelation in this series this year. A very experienced driver, Formula 3 driver, winner at Macau, races frequently in Porsche Super Cup, knows his way around the Porsche 911, knows his way around Donington Park as well, working it hard. Clever driver, thoughtful driver. Watch him, because he is capable of taking the fight forwards. Looking at the tail end of Glasel's car, and a little bit of tyre smoke. He's putting the pressure on. Christian Glasel just a bit heavy on the brakes through the hairpin because he is being pressured, and Masson looking down the inside and finding it, going through on the inside. That car, yes he is, holds that line. Well, the Porsche can do that. It's got the agility and it's got the traction to get away now. He wants to get out of danger before Glasel comes back at him, and look at that behind the number 2 Viper of Belloc, wanting to go past at Redgate, beginning to think that 19 is holding him up and wants to go through. Little bits of plastic being scattered there as the track markers take a hit, but nothing to worry about. Glasel's still under pressure from Belloc, Jean-Philippe Belloc pushing hard. And still up front, remember, Julian Bailey and the Lister are trying to put some distance between themselves and the rest of the field, especially the 2 Orica cars and especially that number 1 car. Here we are on board as Masson dives through on the inside, holds it right on the curb, lets it run out now. He's got the pass. Sasha Masson moves up into 4th place. Glasel, Belloc and Whitman 5th, 6th and 7th places in a race that's clearly got a lot more life left in it. Everything just beginning and everything to play for. Early days yet in this 7th round of the FIA GT Championship from Donington Park. You're looking at the race leader, number 25, the Lister Storm, driven in this opening hour by Julian Bailey, who's got to hustle because he's got another race to do up in the north of England. So he needs to get this car through the first hour as quickly as he can, and then he can get in his helicopter and clear off up north. At the moment, though, he is clearing off as hard as he knows how from the rest of the field, and doing it very nicely, thank you. Grabbed the lead from the green light and has never looked back because he's never had to. If you do look back behind him, you'll see that there's quite a lot of empty track before you get back to 2nd place. You're looking at 5th, 6th and 7th at the moment. 19 is Christian Glasel, 2 is Jean-Philippe Belloc, and behind that is the number 22 Belmondo Viper, and this is Olivier Beretta having a look at Niamarim as they go into braking for the S's. Now, we saw Mauro Casadei come to grief here, but there is how you should do it. Managed to hold on to it, or did he? And Niamarim's coming back at him on the run down towards the Melbourne hairpin. He just sneaked through there. Just about got away with that. Very well judged indeed, especially remember that he's tugging 100 kilos more than Niamarim's car. 1,100 kilos, the minimum weight limit in this series, and that car weighing at least 1,200 kilos. That number 1 Orica Viper that you're looking at now is at least 100 kilos more than the minimum limit. Behind him, Sasha Masson in the number 6 Conrad Porsche. Franz Conrad often partners with Bob Wallach this weekend. Sasha Masson's got the drive, done some good work in this series, and here comes Jean-Philippe Belloc, or does he? Christian Glasel under pressure again in that number 19 car as they run through Hollywood down towards the Craner curves. Very fast, and you've got to be right here, and Jean-Philippe Belloc isn't going to happen here. Well, he's still pressuring Glasel, but he's not going to get round him here. Watch them going into the braking zone at the end of the run downhill from Coppice towards the S's, though, and there you may well see this pass happen. This is the section of road. There goes the number 18 car with Sasha Masson glued to its tail. Well, Sasha Masson was thinking about a pass on Niamarim there, and we're not going to spot it, I don't think, if it happens behind when Belloc moves on Glasel. Keep our eyes peeled for that one, because Sasha Masson is definitely hustling here, wants to go past. Through the Melbourne loop, behind the pits, back up the hill they go. He's already made one pass here. Can he do it again? Down the inside he goes, and it has happened for him. He's done it again. On the inside, hold that tight line, and he's made it stick on the gas hard, running downhill. Well, Sasha Masson has definitely mastered the art of getting through there. And if you look in the background, that number 2 Viper is still behind the number 19 Chamberlain car. So nothing happened there going into the S's. But Masson's the man on the move again. Sascha Masson then trying to pull away now, trying to open a break on the man behind him, chasing after the race leader. Somewhere up ahead of him is Julian Bailey in the Lister. The Emirates does not want to let the Porsche go. This Donington Park circuit has got moments for the Viper on the straight, but it's got quite a lot of moments for the Porsche as well. Watch now and see how close the Emirates can get before they reach the braking zone. And he really hasn't made a big impression, or has he? Not really. Down into the Melbourne loop, and this is where the Porsche Agility has won the day for Sascha Masson already a couple of times, and you can see now that he's quite safely through. A little bit of smoke from the brakes there. The Viper, you can see, struggling to go around there as neatly as the Porsche does. Nice wide approach to Goddard's now. He's got no one to worry about. And running wide sooner on the exit, opening out his advantage just a little bit more, and you can see that he is getting away. Still no change in the background, 19 and 2. That hasn't happened. This is another prime position for overtaking, and Jean-Philippe Belloc does it in style. Sneaks through as they go round Redgate. Well, that looked as nice a pass as you could hope to see. Neat, tidy, no problem at all, and no stress for anyone. So race positions changing as the Orica crews start to move up. What you'll see is as the fuel load lightens, they will start to get quicker. It'll be just that little bit easier to hustle them through the corners, just that little bit easier on the brakes. The tyres won't be put under so much pressure, and it'll just get a little bit quicker. You can see for yourself how hard he's working in there. It's not just that simple. It looks fairly stable a platform from the outside, but if you look into the cockpit, you'll see the driver doing lots and lots of work, and here comes the return. Well, Belloc got through. Glasel is wanting to return the favour, but it's not going to happen for him. Hot the curves through the S's. And here's your race leader, Julian Bailey in the Lister with the big Jaguar engine, and he is in the clear and galloping away. Well, this is the qualifying form book, absolutely lived out to the letter on track. He is running away with this one. They've come close in the past. They've had a reliability problem, and someone else has got a reliability problem as well. Luca Capillari into the pits with some kind of problem. The crew are waiting for him. They were expecting him. They knew he was coming in. Obviously a problem with the car that they're going to try and fix. Glasel now is being attacked from behind by Stefan Widman in the Belmondo car. Blue and yellow, unmistakable livery. And he's given ground once already, and he's now being asked to do it again. And it's not quite as easy. They are big and wide, but here comes Stefan Widman as they go up the hill towards Goddard, and he's wide on the outside, dives round behind. Watch him now try and stand on the gas as quickly as he can here. He wants the slingshot off the front straight as they go down towards Redgate, but it didn't look close enough. 15, the Porsche, is Wolfgang Kaufmann at the wheel. He's the start driver for the opening hour. Shares it with Michel Ligonnet. Quite a pairing they have been this year. Yet another new car. They've turned into a Porsche building factory, and you can see much quicker than the number 23 car straight past. Behind is number 33, and that is Vincent Voss, who has started GLPK Viper. They're 8th and 9th at the moment, moving through the field, so you can see that the leaders have started to lap the tail enders already. And number 22 there, Stefan Widman, pressuring Christian Glasel and closing up. Well, he wasn't really close enough again. Down through the loop they'll go and see if he can get on his tail coming out of Goddard's again. A little bit of smoke from the brakes, so you know that he is under pressure. And he has indeed brought it right up to the tail end again. Now he needs to be... Oh, and you can see how much it slides as soon as he turns it a little bit too sharply or gets a little bit generous with that right foot. And it's very difficult not to be anxious when you're coming out of the corner and you want to line up this pass. And the Viper obliges in that... Oh, there, it does it again, going through Redgate now towards Hollywood. The tail is definitely on the move. Constantly fighting the oversteer. It's made a number of drivers who've come to it for the first time this year smile with pleasure, but it's not the quickest way round a circuit. Donington Park, particularly, lots of long, flowing sort of combination corners, and that happy little tail swing of the Viper is really not the best way to get around, certainly not kind for the tyres. And that number 22 Viper is definitely... Oh, and he's lost it completely. And he's lost it right in front of the number 9 Porsche, who just manages to miss it. And look at the way it lights up those tyres. He's cursing himself. He's just a little bit ragged with the throttle because he's upset himself. And it lights up the tyres again. Well, everything that we were saying about the Viper demonstrated before your very eyes. Recovers and carries on. This is how it happened. Watch him now. Just turns in and the back's gone. Manages to collect it up very nicely. And that is the number 24 car of Horst Felbermeyer Jr. And that looks fairly terminal. Here comes the number 22 Viper into the pits, and that looks fairly terminal as well. Obviously there was a problem then, or there now is a problem. Into the box he goes. We may see him back out on track, depends on what the problem is. Here's the race leader though, and look behind him, tapping on the back door already, the number 1 Oreca Viper, Olivier Beretta, closing in on the Lister. Now we will see if Lister are right. They think their car is a match for the Vipers around Donington Park, especially with that 100 kilos of success ballast. Both riding through the turns fairly flat, both looking pretty much of a muchness. Well, Beretta has been closing in on Julian Bailey. It may well be that Julian Bailey has been... And there's the number 22 car coming out of the pits with some kind of gear selection problem apparently fixed, but it's lost a lot of time. And so too has Julian Bailey, it seems. Maybe he's running to a fuel schedule, or maybe he's quite happy to keep the Viper there, or maybe he just has got no reply. But there's no doubt about it, Beretta has been steadily gaining ground and closing in. There's not much between them now. And very soon we're going to see Olivier Beretta thinking about lining up Julian Bailey for a pass. Now, closing up is one thing, getting past is a completely different matter indeed. It isn't going to be that easy, but we are definitely going to see a battle for the lead. Number 18, the Chamberlain car, with the number 2 Oreca Viper on its tail. 4th and 5th places at the moment, race order, remember. Number 25 is the Lister in the lead, ahead of the number 1 Viper of Olivier Beretta. And then it's the number 6 Porsche of Sacha Masson. Then it is this car, number 18, Nee Amorim. Behind that, Jean-Philippe Belloc in the number 2 Oreca Viper. Behind him, you can't see, 19, Christian Glasel. 15 is Wolfgang Kaufmann. And behind that in 8th place is the number 33 GLPK Viper. So we've got distinct battles developing as Francis Werner comes into the pits for his regular stop, coming out of 19th place. We're on lap 29 now. We're about 45 minutes into it. This is therefore the first of the scheduled stop. The leaders are lapping the number 21 car, who is in 10th place. so you can see the pace that they are moving at, and you can also see for yourself that Olivier Beretta is now right on the tail end of Julian Bailey and the Lister. He's brought the fight forwards, he's closed the gap, and as we run towards the end of the first hour and the fuel load lightens and the Oreca Viper gets easier to drive, easier to late brake, easier to turn in, Olivier Beretta is using the extra gains to try and close the gap. It's brought him forwards, it's brought him into contention, and what he knows is that the scheduled fuel stops are all about to begin. The race order is going to get muddled, and we'll have to wait to find out how it's all shaken out until a few laps after the fuel stops are over. Of the FIA GT Championship at Donington Park, the Porsche number 15, Wolfgang Kaufmann, is in 7th place, being chased by Vincent Voss in the number 33 GLPK Viper. Kaufmann with a brand new car yet again, struggled with the gearbox, got it working, racing better than it qualified. You're looking at the pit stop for Nee Amorim, handing over to Tony Seiler. This is the race leader, number 25, Julian Bailey in the Lister, followed by the championship points leader. That is Olivier Beretta as his teammate in the number 2 car. Jean-Philippe Belloc brings it in for his scheduled stop. So you know the number 1 car is going to stay out for at least one more lap while the Oreca crew handle this stop. Driver change. Out goes Belloc and in goes Justin Bell, making his return to the series. First drive since Hockenheim. He's been a long way away from the car, a long while away from the car, but enjoying his qualifying, looking forward to a good race. We'll find out in a minute. The Lister's still out there. The number 1 Viper is still out there. The tyre change is complete. The fuel load is on. Number 2 car rejoins the race. First of the front runners to stop. Here comes Olivier Beretta. He wants to be in front of the Lister going into the fuel stops. That'll give him a tiny advantage and perhaps a psychological booster as well. But Julian Bailey's having none of it. The Lister, we've always thought, one of the big cars of GT racing, where big cars are the norm. But the Lister is big and it fills up Donington Park completely. It's about as wide as a GT car can be. And you can see for yourself that Beretta's having a hard time getting round it. He's brought the fight forwards, he's glued to the tail end of the Lister, but he just cannot find a way past. And very soon, one or both of these are going to make their share. Oh, they're both going to do it. In goes Bailey with the number 1 car right on his tail. Pit lane speed limit, very well behaved, no racing in the pit lane, and both of them know the penalties for that. The Lister pulls into its pitch. Oh, and it's caught the fuel rig. He's caught. That's the number 29 Porsche there, making its scheduled stop there. And he's caught the airline and the refueling rig, and it's wrapped round the tyre. The mechanics are trying to fit. This is disaster for Julian Bailey and the Lister crew. It's not where it should be. It's not in its appointed place. All that time that they were just sat there is a complete and total loss. 15-20 seconds went by while they tried to free it. So disaster at the pit stop after a brilliant first hour. No fuss, no bother for Oreca, the number 1 car, which is about to take over the lead. Look at this, it's still confusion and frenzy for the Lister team as they try to sort this out. Calm, ordered and very well behaved in the pits for the Oreca crew. Carl Wendlinger waiting in the car patiently as this seems to be stuck in gear. They seem to have a problem with it. Must have stalled when Julian Bailey brought it in. It's not in position. They've got it moving freely now, but this is all just lost and wasted time manoeuvring the car about the place. They have lost 45 seconds. The clock ticking on and on. The doors are open, the mechanics are all over it, nobody's allowed to touch it while it's being refueled. They've got to reset their pit stop schedule and start from the beginning again if they can get it into the right place. The number 1 car is going out. This is tragedy for the Lister crew. There is Carl Wendlinger out onto the circuit, and he is going to be at least a lap in front of them by the time they get that sorted out. Wendlinger out on fresh tyres. They've been in the blankets. They're not really up to race temperature yet, but a lap from now they're going to be, and he is going to scoot away. Well, you may just have seen the outcome of this race decided, because the Lister is still in the pits. Well, the pit stop nightmare to end them all for the Lister crew. Order has been re-established. Hewland in the car. It's up on the jacks. They changed the tyres. But you can see it's not a Formula One pit stop. There's not 19 people around the car. There's only 4 allowed to touch it. So they changed the tyres alone. They're big, heavy, slow to move, and it takes ages. The Lister crew, though, have ended the nightmare, and out it goes. Rejoins the circuit now. The speed limit is over. On the gas goes Hewland, and there is Carl Wendlinger. Not quite a lap in front, but right behind, all warmed up and ready to go. And watch and see now. He's going to try and get past the Lister and put it a lap down if he can. Closing right up on Hewland. Carl Wendlinger, ex-Formula One driver, has taken to sports cars, and he really has hustled this Viper around as well. And he is definitely going to have a go. Hewland will know he's there. He can probably feel Wendlinger's breath on the back of his neck. And watch them now as they come down the hill. Fast part of the circuit, downhill towards the S's, and lots of opportunity to outbrake the man in front of you. Terrible shame that this has happened, that the Lister has lost all this time, especially after starting so well from pole position and just when everything was going according to plan.
Well, we started off at a good pace, and then the Eureka started catching me, but I think towards the end of the stint we were very even, you know. I hit traffic badly a few times and he gained on that, but then once I was free on my own, he couldn't really catch me. You know, it was pretty even, so the car's going well. Pit stop was a nightmare, you know. The car here was parked right in front of us. There's nothing we could do.
I understand you're off to Croft now.
Yeah, I've got to catch a helicopter now and go and do another race.
Meanwhile, Hewland has got this race to think about, because he has still got Carl Wendlinger right behind him. Just a reminder that the race order at the moment is number 33, Vincent Voss, 15, Michel Ligonnet, then Carl Wendlinger, number 1. You're looking at him now, he's actually in 3rd place. Then it's the number 30 Porsche of Maxwell Beaverbrook, the number 2 Orica Viper, now driven by Justin Bell, and 16 is Yukihiro Hana. But 4 of those have yet to start, and in fact Wolfgang Kaufmann in the number 15 car has just gone into the pits, and the other 3 are 33, 30 and 16 haven't made their pit stops. So the real race order puts the number 1 Viper of Carl Wendlinger in the lead, and almost a lap in front of William Hewland in the Lister, which he is currently following, and has jumped up and down behind quite considerably, but he's not having any more luck in this position than Olivier Beretta did when he was there. He didn't have a lap in hand, as Carl Wendlinger does now, but Beretta could not get past either. He could follow it, he could stay with it, but the Lister is just quick enough to keep that number 1 car, especially one that is full of fuel now as it is, behind him safely. So 33 you're looking at is the race leader for the time being until he makes his pit stop. That's going to happen any moment. They often make late stops, the GLPK crew, and they always seem to pitch up as race leaders for a couple of laps before they go in. Puts the spotlight on them. One of the privateer teams running the Viper, they have been doing very well with it, and run out of luck occasionally, and it does seem to be luck that deserts them, but we've seen them show very well off and on during the season. Just waiting, and this is it, isn't it? Into the pits he goes. So the race order is sort of re-established now, with the number 1 car out in front, and the number 30 Porsche, which was also in the running as well. The Beaverbrook car has also opted for a pit stop. So normal service is slowly being resumed up front. Brad Conrad in the number 6 car, currently in 7th place. And And behind him, the number 18 Viper, Tony Seiler, the Swiss driver, now at the controls and now in 8th place, as you can see. And this car, the number 6 Conrad car, just recently taking over the mantle of best Porsche from that number 15 car of Wolfgang Kaufmann and Michel Ligonnet. They've been competing all over the place in different championships. They've really stretched themselves in terms of what they've been doing. They've had some very good results, but just lately this car has settled down into a nice consistent runner, and it is always there or thereabouts. Using that agility, getting away from Tony Seiler. Oh, and the back goes round. We've seen this happen before, and almost in the same tram lines that were left there before. Back end of the Viper just steps out. It's fortunately nice and predictable and collectible as well. Here it is again. Nice and easy does it. Holds it and ready to rejoin. And that's retirement, no two ways about it. The number 77 Porsche, gear selection problems, and out it goes. Franz Conrad then with the Lister right behind him. Now Hewland has established himself now as the quickest car on track at the moment. Remember, last time we saw him, he had a big blue and white thing breathing down his neck. That was Carl Wendlinger in the number 1 Orica Viper. It's no longer there. Hewland is doing his best to unlap himself. You heard Julian Bailey talk about the traffic, and you know how difficult that can be. But Hewland is definitely trying to recover the tarmac between himself and the number 1 car. They were in a commanding lead. They're not now. He's got to find places to get past. Nobody's going to be waving blue flags at Franz Conrad. He's in the race for himself. He doesn't care what happened to the Lister in the pit stop or whether it wants to get back to the front. If Hewland wants it, he's going to have to take it, possibly at the end of this run down towards the S's. Goes for the move in the braking zone. They've touched in the S's. Conrad spins, the Lister's on the grass. Well, that is definitely going to be the subject of some pit lane conversation later on. Both of those drivers, I promise you, will have different points of view about exactly what happened then. Both of them have got away with it. Hewland rather better than Conrad. But both of them live to fight another day and continue. And Hewland continues his chase after the leader. Here it is again. Comes down the inside. It wasn't going to happen for him, and he couldn't help himself. He braked as hard as he dared, but he just tipped the back end of the number 6 car and sent him into a little spin. Well, you have to say it's a racing accident, but it would be a sporting thing to do, to go down and shake hands and say, sorry about that. Oh, here goes another one. And it's in the Melbourne loop, not up the top where we've seen it happen before, but it's the same thing. That Viper back end just stepping out of line. That was Didier Defourny recovering and continuing. Well, we're looking at Tony Seiler with Thierry Gosselin behind him in the number 2. Oh dear, that's a puncture for sure. It's not the engine, it's coming off that left front tyre. And you saw the front dip there. Complete blowout for Tony Seiler, and he was very lucky to be able to hang on to that and make it turn with that front going down. Rubber all over the place, clouds of smoke, and he's got to stay off the racing line now, keep out of everybody's way and try and trundle this thing back to the pits. And that looked like it was indeed, well, nothing to do with him. Piafier just lost it at McLean's, and off into the gravel he goes. The engine's still running though. Can he dig himself out? Yes, he can. Spreads a little bit of dust on the circuit, but rejoins and continues. Here it is again. There is the number 21 car. Watch for Piafier coming in backwards. Well, just coming in too hot on his way past the limping number 18 car of Tony Seiler, who's working hard at getting it back home. He's nearly there, but he's going to go all the way down to the bottom of the Melbourne loop now, all the way back up the hill the other side. With his fingers crossed for sure. If that completely lets go and it gets down on the rims, he'll be out of the race. But at the moment, yes, there's quite a lot of rubber left there. Amazing the amount of punishment these tyres can take and still get you back home. Here's the blowout again. It just went pop, and somehow or other he held onto it and got it round the turn. And he's almost back to the pits now. The crew will know that he's coming. They'll have heard it on the radio, seen it on the monitors in the pit lane boxes, and they'll be waiting for him when he arrives. Well, it's made it incredibly, almost half a lap of Donington Park, 2 kilometres on a tyre that was being shredded off the rim by 1,100 kilos minimum of Chrysler Viper. And that is the oh dear, that looks terminal, doesn't it? Michel Ligonnès parks the Freisinger car. Well, he's obviously been for a trip on the infield, and it's obviously slightly more serious than that. So retirement for them and disappointment for them. They worked really hard to get that car ready for this weekend, and it just didn't happen for them on the day. Number 19, Christian Glasel with Didier Deforny looking for a way through and finding it. The battle for 5th and 6th place, and just hustles it round there. You can see for yourself that Donington Park is quite narrow if you're driving a Viper as they move up one place. In 3rd place, despite a disastrous first pit stop for Julian Bailey as he came in to hand over, William Hewland has finished the middle hour of this round of the championship and comes in for his scheduled stop. He's about 15 seconds or so behind the 2nd placed Orica Viper, Justin Bell. And that's not a bad position considering the nightmare they had. They must have lost a whole lap. They did lose a whole lap. Getting on for 90 seconds it cost them. And they have got back 2/3 of that, which is not too bad at all. There is 2nd place coming in for its pit stop. Justin Bell brings it back in, and Jean-Philippe Belloc, who goes the first out, will finish the car as it becomes clear at this point that this race will stop at 3 hours and not 500 kilometres. And the Lister makes its exit, comes out on track ahead of the number 21 Viper, running in 8th place at the moment, yet to make its pit stop as Justin Bell climbs out, takes his seat insert with him. The race leader, Carl Wendlinger, in the number 1 Orica car. The pit stops have started, but at the moment it's this car, number 1, from the number 6 Porsche of Franz Conrad. And there he goes into his pit stop, so spoils that. And the 33 car moves up into 2nd place ahead of 19, 18, 25 is in the pits, as you know. So it's all change. And again, we'll have to let the pit stops settle down, get a couple of laps under our belt and see what's happening. Staying out on track again, Carl Wendlinger. Olivier Beretta is waiting for him in the pit lane though, so this stop is about to happen. Coming in at the end of this lap for sure. Watch him turn into the pit lane entrance now. So Wendlinger hands it over in the lead, and you couldn't ask for much more than that. 76 laps completed. 3 laps after the Lister came in. He's come into the pit. So again, they've stayed out for as long as they could and used those laps when the car was light to put in the best times they can, try and get the gap up as high as possible. And here's your new race leader for the 2nd time today, the number 33 DLPK car. Stays the race leader for as long as he comes in for his pit stop, which will be in a lap or so. Belloc into the pit lane. He has just come out. What is this? We have just had the scheduled stop for the number 2 car, but here it is back in, and there is obviously a problem. The mechanics there knew what was happening. They knew he was coming in, and they knew why he was coming in. So that changes everything, because Andy Wallace is in the Lister Storm, and he is now, as he goes past the pit lane entrance, up into second place. Very definitely, it's clutch hydraulic fluid they're adding, so it's got a clutch problem, and that might well prove to be the end of its race. We'll wait and see, but it certainly puts the number 25 Lister up into second place. It's not being remedied that quickly, and now Andy Wallace, who can drive a bit, as we all know, in the Lister, with his sights set on the race leader, and in the gravel trap, the number 9 Porsche stuck at McLean's. That isn't coming out, not without more people pushing, and this isn't coming out either. It's not coming out of the pit lane. It looks as though the number 2 Viper is going to have to stay there. In comes the race leader for his scheduled stop, and he'll rejoin, and we'll sort out where he is after that. Didier Defourny hands over to Vincent Voss, and the mechanics allowed to touch the car, and the outgoing driver, as you saw, can help the incoming driver with his seat and straps. The number 6 Conrad Porsche, now driven by Sascha Masson, in third place. This is second place at the moment for the Lister. 25 seconds down. Lister could put... Oh, dear. Into the gravel goes the number 6 car. Masson has chucked it into the gravel at Coppice. The race is almost over. The checkered flag unfurled, and it's almost all over, and that was almost a disaster, but somehow or other he's recovered it, and he may yet finish third. Here's the man who's going to finish in the lead, and does so. Checkered flag time for the Orica team again, as Olivier Beretta gives them another victory in this series. Steady work from the Orica crews once again, still managing to overcome the handicap of the extra weight to look faster in a straight line, even if acceleration, braking and cornering are all hampered by the penalty of that 100 kilos success ballast. Here's the way the points table stacks up, with Beretta and Wendlinger on top of the pile, and though they can be caught, it's only by other Orica drivers, and then only if neither of them race again this year. With the team's championship already in the bag, the driver's title now can really only go to Orica as well. It's going to be a good way for the team to bow out of this series, which they will do at the end of this year, having more than proved the point, it has to be said, about the Viper in competition and racing.
The problem now we have is when we follow someone with the 100 kilo, it's not good for the hair, because the brakes are warm more, and that makes a big effect on the braking point and in the acceleration. So we have to fight a lot with the car, but I mean the rules is like this. The rules are good, and in some way I'm happy to have the 100 kilo, because that means the car is very competitive.
Next time out, they race at Homestead in Florida, way down south of Miami. First of 2 stateside events that may see the Orica cars beaten yet.